Well, as I said, I think the only real assist in terms of a positive plus, the one big assist, is the President of the United States, and I think that will be a very positive thing. I don't, I think our campaign's moving well without it, but I just think the President will be warmly received in Texas, and so you've got to say it's a plus. I don't know how you measure it. I remember back in '64, I thought that President Johnson's endorsement of, wouldn't against me wouldn't hurt, but I think sure enough it did. So I think it's going to be a big plus factor.
The 5 outstanding young Texans of 1970 have been named. We're talking with Mr. Malcolm Tallman, who is the president of the Texas Jaycees. Mr. Tallman, how were these men selected?
Jim, they were nominated by local organizations, civic organizations, business groups across Texas, and also by individuals.
What happens to them now?
They will be nominated to the 10 Outstanding Young Men of America's Congress,
which is to be held
in Memphis, Tennessee.
Thank you. All right, let's meet the 5 outstanding young Texans of 1970. Robert B. Buck, owner of a San Antonio architectural firm. James D. Dannenbaum, consulting engineer and a civic leader of Houston. Walter J. Heumann, corporate executive of LTV Aerospace of Dallas. Morgan Maxfield, president of Morgan Optics and a Dallas realtor. And Gary A. Weber, chairman of the board of a Dallas brokerage firm and Dallas city councilman. With the state of Texas represented by these 5 men, certainly the state of Texas will be represented among the 10 outstanding young men of the nation. This is Jim Mitchell, Channel 8 News on the Move in Irving.
it's getting close. So a lot of us may not be around next time, Jay. And I feel like we have a very bright, capable council. I'm pleased to work with all of them. We have a few squabbles now and then, but that's just politics. I think they're capable of making a very good decision, and I think they will. But there's so many things that hit us day in and day out that you really got to go at it hard to get over any one point. This is why I'm bringing it out in the public now to try to get the decision made now. I think that people of Fort Worth would vote pretty well along with these proposals.
Jerry, we have several youngsters at this time. We do not know whether they'll be able to participate or not. It's going to go right up to kickoff time. However, we've had quite a few youngsters this week miss practice, and this has really destroyed our execution and our timing, and as a result, I don't feel good about the ball game.
Who are the players that you will not know about until game time?
Well, two in particular, Gary Hammond and Gordon Gilder.
What shape is Hammond in, and Gilder also?
Well, Gary has a jammed neck, a bruised shoulder, an inflated elbow, and a very bad hip pointer. And, of course, the hip pointer is a thing that really is painful to Gary. And if he's not really much more mobile than he has been during the week, then he will not play in this ball game at all. Gordon Gilder has a hyperextension of the right leg. All the ligaments are drawn up real tight. He has a difficult time in extending his leg. And this has slowed his speed considerably, so we won't know until warm-up time before kickoff whether Gordon will be able to go or not.
How do you think the game will go tomorrow?
Well, with that two members of our starting backfield and three others that didn't work out until Wednesday, I'd say it's going to go Texas Tech right now. There's someone upstairs who's certainly going to have to help us today.
Well, you've had the knack out in Lubbock of getting your teams ready. We're going to do it again?
Well, you know, Jerry, we have been real fortunate in Lubbock getting the teams ready, but we've had people with experience to get ready to play. We lost one year out there to Donnie Anderson in a big hailstorm, and if it doesn't hail, maybe we got a chance.
Well, you see, this will open up vistas of opportunity for many, many thousands of land-hungry Latin American families who don't own an inch of real estate. It'll give them a chance to have a stake in the future. In another sense, it will be a tangible, concrete evidence that the United States has not forgotten its closest neighbors and best friends, the people in our own hemisphere. There's a feeling down there that some of the luster may have gone out of the Alliance for Progress. This will revive the spirit of hope for the eventual development of this hemisphere and the working together.
Well, Vernon, we have a young ball club. This year we start off pretty slow, but I think as time goes by, we will improve. We have two freshman quarterbacks. We feel that possibly mid-season should come around, we hope.
I understand you have, only 3 seniors on your ball club, which
Right.
is really unusual.
Right, we have 3 seniors, and Vivian Lee here, and he's a senior. Also, James Botley, and who's the other senior?
Edward Fisher.
Yeah, Fisher. He's an offensive tackle. So those 3 seniors we have.
Vivian Lee, you're one of the 3, as Coach Tankersley pointed out, a defensive back. I would imagine with as young a team as you've got, all those juniors and sophomores, you have a special role, don't you, of leadership and trying to develop this club?
Well, I'm the captain this year, and we have good leadership among the juniors and the sophomores on the team, and I don't have any special duties. Everybody's willing to work hard.
I know that you're concerned. You've played 5 games and you've still got at least half the season to go. But looking to the future, do you have aspirations of perhaps going on to pro ball?
Well, I think if I have a good season, I might have a chance to play professional football, and I would like to play.
One of the young juniors that we're talking about is Jerry Wallace, who's a Dallasite, graduate of Pinkston. Jerry, what led you down to Prairie View in the first place?
Mostly my high school coach, which I graduated from Pinkston in Dallas, and he was telling me about Prairie View, and I didn't want to go to college at all, but he inspired me to go on, and when I got there, I liked it.
I'm so glad I can just come back just to visit this time and just to be with my friends and see them all, because this is the first time since I've won that I've really gotten to be back with the people that I've grown up with and that I've lived with all my life. You know, love is a word tossed around by my hip generation. Love of people, our fellow men, love of country, and love of God is the triangle that I believe in. Peace, another word often used today, and love must come from God, as strength and wisdom come from Him. I'm looking to God to help guide me through my reign as Miss America.
An estimated 300,000 alcoholics live in the state of Texas. The cost of alcoholism to industry is better than $100 million a year. The Schick Hospital, the first privately financed alcohol treatment center in this part of Texas, Lieutenant Governor Ben Barnes spoke to the dedicatory crowd this morning about progress in the treatment of alcoholism.
Once it was admitted that the physiological and psychological problems were the cause of alcoholism, it became clear that these problems were the proper target in the fight against dependence on alcohol. The goal of the Schick Hospital, the first privately financed hospital of its type in this part of Texas, is to arrest the disease of alcoholism by breaking the physiological and psychological cycle of addiction. The programs used here will be the products of the most current research in this field. It's hoped that the work completed here will offer hope and a new life for many hundreds of our citizens who are plagued by the most complicated disease.
Some of the treatments at the Schick Hospital are radical, others are tested and proven, but it's one step in the march against alcoholism. Jay Lewis, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Worth. With the election of a communist president for the first time by popular ballot in Latin America, do you foresee a spread of the principles of communism across Latin America?
I don't think so. Really, I don't. First of all, I'm not sure that he is communist to start with, because communism is a word that people use very loosely. As a matter of fact, I was going to be communist. They said they'll leave me in Mexico because I was communist. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I haven't even solved my own problems to be digging into everybody else's problems. And I'd rather not even make a comment on this, but really, I think he's a man who won by elections. I don't know whether he thought of them or not, but I mean, he really won by elections, and I think that's one of the principles in it. I mean,
do you think Fidel Castro's principles are going to apply generally across Latin America if the spread continues at its present rate?
Now, this bird I don't like, definitely. I don't like no Fidel Castro. There, you're really talking about communism. This bird, really, I can tell you, I don't like him.
Well, I think the chances of passage are very good. It was passed for Harris County about 6 years ago. It was passed for Tarrant County 4 years ago, Tarrant County and El Paso County. And I believe that the metropolitan areas will outvote the rural areas and will pass it. It's simply an attempt to, within our system, to modernize county government. There isn't a thing that can be done unless the voters themselves approve it. It requires enabling legislation, and then we have to go to the people with a vote by the people before any of these changes can actually take place.
This is kind of coming in by stages. In 1966, they voted on Amendment 13 in Harris County. 1968, they voted on Amendment 11 that involved El Paso and Tarrant County for this same type of government. I can't see anything out of it, only now they're voting for every county in the state of Texas to have this form of government, which in my opinion is a metro form of government.
Well, Mr. Stewart, doesn't this indeed give the option to the people, though?
Yes, each county would vote on it, and the point I'm getting to. These three counties that where it's passed, and neither county has asked the people to vote on it. They haven't moved in that direction. And it would tend to be a county manager form of government with the people in the county losing out on saying who their tax assessor, their county clerk, their sheriff, or the district attorney would be. He would be appointed under this form of government.
Time may come when these things will change, but I think our policy has been wise. Among other things, you've got to realize that Mao Zedong has behaved systematically since 1949 on the basis of not wanting any amelioration of relations with the United States. People forget what happened in 1949. This is before the Korean War.
There are people in this community who could write a check for $450,000 and never miss it.
Well, Mr. Rogers, didn't this thing get blown just a little bit out of proportion?
Yes, it got blown out of proportion, but the people who blew it out of proportion are the people in this room. That's why we're having the meeting.
You
This
mean
makes
us, the
good
press?
news. No.
You feel we're responsible for this?
I think... Now, say that again?
Are you saying we are responsible?
I think that this is all out of proportion to what really is important.
Yes, sir, but I think you were saying that we should not have reported that as a news story.
No, I didn't say that. Now, I'd be the last one to say that.
Then how are we responsible?
I say that, but the way in which this was reported and all the stories and the television, everything that's gone on since then, has created in the minds of the public a feeling that the orchestra has told the public to go fly a kite, and the public resents it.
People don't want to pay more for many things. There's a slowness to insist on more purity. There's a slowness to be willing to pay some more, and it may well be that detergents will cost more if the phosphates are not used in them.
Do you see any apathy on the part of business to get involved in cleaning up their own products?
Yes, because cleaning up the product, if you can't get a higher price for it, will reduce profits. And most customers don't want to pay a higher price for a product produced in a cleaner plant or a cleaner product.
Are we going to win this battle?
I'm not as sure as I would like to be, because people tend to get tired of popular issues. Well, Jim, the problem is not so much one with our one of the problems is the Japanese will not open their markets to American companies the way our market is open to theirs. You cannot ship into Japan. You cannot go and produce in Japan the way the Japanese can come and do it here. Now, basically, I believe, and the export expansion consuls believe in free trade, but it ought to be free both ways. And I have said to the Japanese, you must realize you can't continue to go on this way. You must either buy more from us or sell us less or devalue your yen in relation to our dollar or do something.
To tell all the women that when they go to buy land, the title company or the real estate people have them to sign the deed and the title and everything, but they don't tell them it can be sold behind their back. They don't explain that to them, and I think they should tell them to. They'll have to follow their husband around if he happens to go to a bar and get drunk, or if somebody slips him some LSD. He wouldn't know what he was doing.